Good evening and welcome. You're watching the news on Sansad TV live at 9 p.m. I'm Bhawna Nayar. Let's get you up to date with today's top stories. Indigenous light combat helicopter Prachan inducted in the Indian Air Force. Rajnath Singh takes a sortie, calls it a big move towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. News websites, TV channels should refrain from carrying advertisements of betting sites. Centre issues advisory, warns private satellite channels of penal action in case of violation. President Draupadi Murmu launches projects worth Rs 1,330 crore in Gujarat's Gandhinagar, says progressive entrepreneurs of the state created a special identity of India in the world. Swedish genetist Svante Pääbo wins Nobel Prize in Medicine for 2022, award for his groundbreaking discoveries on human evolution. And UK government makes U-turn on 45% tax rate cut for top earners. Prime Minister Liz Truss says it became a distraction. Reversal of fend-off rebellion from her own party members. And now let's take a look now at our flash segment. Home Minister Amit Shah is scheduled to visit Bihar on October 11th in what would be his second visit to the state in 3 weeks. Among other places, Shah would also be visiting Jai Prakash Narayan's village. Indian Railways converts 500 mail express trains to superfast category. India's overall coal production increases by over 12% to around 58 million tons in September this year as compared to the same period last year. Last date to submit application for National Means Cum Merit Scholarship Scheme extended till October 15th. PM to visit Himachal Pradesh to inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of several projects on Wednesday, October 5th. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is scheduled for a week-long visit to New Zealand and Australia from 5th of October. This will be Jaishankar's first ever visit to New Zealand as a minister. At least 5 dead and 64 injured as fire engulfs Durga Puja Pandal in UP's Badohi. 3 children and 2 women among dead. Iran's Tehran University witnesses violent anti-government protest. A large number of students trapped at Sharif University of Technology surrounded by security personnel. The United Nations Humanitarian Agency warns 5.7 million Pakistani flood survivors will face serious food crisis in the next 3 months. And Brazil election is going into a second round in which left-winger Lula da Silva will face far-right incumbent Jair Bolsonaro. Lula won 48% as against Bolsonaro 43% in the first round. Beginning with the top story of the day, the Indian Air Force inducted the first fleet of indigenously built light combat helicopters today at a ceremony at the Jodhpur Air Force Station in Rajasthan. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh formally inducted the fleet comprising 4 helicopters. Addressing the ceremony, Rajnath Singh said induction of LCH not only adds to the combat capability of the Air Force, but is also a great leap towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. He added that the need for a combat helicopter was seriously felt during the Kargil war that led to the development of LCH, which is made for high-altitude warfare. Chief of Air Staff Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary and other senior military officials were present. Rajnath Singh also took a sortie in the newly inducted LCH, renamed as Prachan. The LCH is the first indigenous multi-role combat helicopter designed and manufactured by HAL. The 5.8-ton twin-engine helicopter is armed with air-to-air missiles, 20 mm turret guns, rocket systems and other weapons. In March this year, the Cabinet Committee on Security, chaired by the Prime Minister, approved the purchase of 15 indigenously developed LCHs for 3,887 crore rupees.
इसके नाम के साथ भले ही लाइट वर्ड जुड़ा हुआ है, लेकिन मैं समझता हूं इसका काम बहुत ही हैवी है। साथियों, LCH या किसी भी प्लेटफॉर्म की उड़ान को मैं केवल उस प्लेटफॉर्म की उड़ान नहीं बल्कि ह्यूमैनिटी की अब तक की साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी के नॉलेज की उड़ान के रूप में देखता हूं।
Moving on, the centre has asked news websites, OTT platforms and private satellite channels to refrain from carrying advertisements of offshore betting sites. It also warned private satellite television channels of penal action under applicable laws for violation of the advisory. In a separate advisory to publishers of news and current affairs, content on digital media and OTT platforms, the ministry asked them not to target such advertisements towards the Indian audience. On her maiden visit to Gujarat as President, Draupadi Murmu launched projects worth Rs 1,330 crore at the GMERS campus in Gandhinagar. The projects included a super speciality hospital at Gujarat Medical Education and Research Society in Gandhinagar and a new GMERS Medical College and Hospital in Narmada district. Praising the enterprise and innovation displayed by the people of the state, President Murmu said they have made a special identity for the country in the world. Let's listen in.
गुजरात के लोगों में एंटरप्राइज और इनोवेशन की संस्कृति है। आज मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ पोर्ट्स, शिपिंग एंड वाटरवेज द्वारा संचालित दीनदयाल पोर्ट कांडला पर विभिन्न परियोजनाओं की आधारशिला रखकर मुझे प्रसन्नता हुई है।
Earlier in the day, President Murmu offered prayers and floral tribute to Mahatma Gandhi at Sabarmati Ashram. In the visitor's diary, she wrote that the visit to the holy land of Mahatma Gandhi gave her indefinable faith and inspiration. The president also tried her hand at Charkha at the Gandhi Ashram. Congress President Sonia Gandhi arrived in Mysuru in Karnataka today. She will join Congress's Bharat Jodo Yatra on 6th of October in the state. Party General Secretary Jairam Ramesh said that Sonia Gandhi will join the Yatra on Thursday during its Karnataka leg. The Yatra will take a 2-day break on Tuesday and Wednesday due to the Shahra festival and will restart on Thursday. This would be the first time that Sonia Gandhi will participate in the Yatra, which began when she was aboard for a medical checkup.
कांग्रेस अध्यक्षा सोनिया गांधी जी 6 तारीख को भारत जोड़ो यात्रा में शामिल होंगी। मंड्या जिले में ज्यादा वक्त नहीं लेंगी पर शामिल जरूर होंगी।
Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla inaugurated drone pilot training, paramedical training and driving school for rural youth at Soma Technical Training Institute in Nellore, Andhra Pradesh. Speaking on the occasion, he said that skill development of youth is an important catalyst in the development of the country. He said this at an event of Swan Bharat Trust in Nellore. Om Birla also said that the trust has taken novel initiatives for the education and skill development of children and youth of the orphaned and deprived sections of the rural areas.
जो ट्रेड वर्तमान समाज में जिनकी आवश्यकता है, जिनकी डिमांड रोजगार के लिए कहीं न कहीं देश के अंदर और देश के बाहर जिनकी डिमांड है, उनको ग्रामीण स्वरोजगार के माध्यम से सेल्फ हेल्प खड़ा करना, स्वरोजगार के माध्यम से खड़ा करने का काम भी इस ट्रस्ट ने बेहतरीनी से किया।
Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla also attended a program organized in honor of former Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu. Moving on, the Election Commission has launched Matadata Junction, a year-long voter awareness program on All India Radio today. Inaugurating the program, Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar said that this program would help in creating awareness among the voters across the country. He said that each episode of the program would be based on a specific theme related to the electoral process. The program will have 52 episodes and each will be of 15 minutes duration. The program will be telecast every Friday on the primary channels of Vivid Bharati, FM Rainbow, FM Gold and All India Radio.
ऑल इंडिया रेडियो की आवाज़ आपके साथ में जुड़ रही है। तो ये जो 52 एपिसोड्स का कार्यक्रम बनाया गया है, ये निश्चित रूप से हमारे सभी वोटर्स को जोड़ेगा और इसमें सभी भाषाओं में हम लोग जाएंगे, जिससे कि अगर शहरी कार्यक्रम की व्यस्तता में अगर सुबह में एफएम सुन रहे हैं तो वहां पर भी ये सब बात सुनने का मौका मिले।
And now a look at some other key developments from across the nation. By-elections for 7 assembly constituencies in 6 states will be held on November 3rd, followed by counting of votes 3 days later. The Election Commission of India said today, announcing the schedule. Of the seats for which by-polls will be held, 2 are in Bihar, 1 each in Maharashtra, Haryana, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh and Odisha. Appointment on compassionate ground is a concession and not a right, observed the Supreme Court today. The object of granting such employment is to enable the affected family to tide over a sudden crisis, said the Supreme Court. Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led Union Cabinet has approved a productivity-linked bonus (PLB) equivalent to 78 days of wages for railway employees ahead of this festive season. The bonus will be paid to non-gazetted railway employees, excluding RPF or RPSF personnel for the financial year 2021-22. Railway Minister Ashwani Vaishnav has said that at least 200 railway stations across the country will be rejuvenated with modern facilities. He made these remarks at the foundation stone-laying ceremony of the coach maintenance factory at Aurangabad railway station in Maharashtra. Tata-owned Air India has introduced a new menu for passengers to eat and drink on domestic flights amid the start of the festive season. In the new in-flight menu, Tatas have introduced gourmet meals, trendy appetizers and decadent desserts that showcases India's locally sourced culinary influence, said a release. Time for a very short break here, but on the other side, it's Lula da Silva versus Jair Bolsonaro in round 2 of presidential elections in Brazil. Stay tuned for all the details.
ये रामलीला पूरे 1 महीने तक अनवरत चलती है।
जो भी आप देख रहे हैं, मैं उसका एक इंटेग्रल पार्ट जो है।
हमारे जो रामलीला की जो खूबी है, इसकी वेशभूषा, मेकअप, आर्टिस्ट, डांस।
हमारी आर्ट भी बहुत पुरानी है और हर देश में इसकी मान्यता है।
शास्त्रीय नृत्यों के माध्यम से ये एक प्रथा चली आ रही है।
ये किरदार आसान नहीं है। एक्चुअली आप मूवमेंट करते हैं, मूवमेंट के साथ में एक्सप्रेशन भी देने हैं।
अल्जाइमर डिजीज़ दिमाग की एक ऐसी बीमारी है जो उम्र के साथ आती है और जिसमें सबसे पहला लक्षण जो होता है याददाश्त का जाना।
अल्जाइमर डिजीज़ मस्तिष्क से संबंधित समस्या है। इसको समय पे पहचानना आवश्यक है क्योंकि इसका इलाज शुरुआती दौर में ही हो पाता है।
क्या है अल्जाइमर बीमारी के लक्षण, कारण और समाधान? जानने के लिए देखिए हेल्दी इंडिया सिर्फ सनसेट टीवी पर।
The glorious journey of India's 75 years of independence, protection of rights, ensuring equality, to empower, to deliver justice. Laws that have defined India and its people. Laws that everyone should know. Watch 75 years. Laws that shaped India. With me, Hemant Batra, only on Sansad TV.
Nature and You, the Environment Series. Aim is to awake and aware people to protect our environment, be it climate or wildlife crisis, depletion of ocean resources, waste management issues. Only on Sansad TV.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching the news in time now for all the big developments from the Russia-Ukraine war front. Ukraine has claimed full control of Russia's eastern logistics hub of Lyman in occupied Donetsk region. Russian forces had to pull out from Lyman on Saturday after being encircled by Ukrainian forces. Videos also show Ukrainian troops removing pro-Russian flags in the town of Lyman. Russia's loss of Lyman is a big blow to Kremlin, as it had been using the eastern city as a transport and logistics hub. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky asserted that the success of Ukrainian forces is not limited to the recapture of Lyman. He stated that 2 towns in the Kherson region have also been liberated. Zelensky also said that the head of the president's office met with U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan's chief advisor Ibrahim Kalin, yielding very substantive negotiations. The Russian Defense Ministry on Monday shared videos of recruits training in Russia and Russia-controlled regions of Ukraine. The ministry said that the units staffed by mobilized personnel and volunteers were taking part in intensive combat training at firing ranges. The ministry also published videos showing self-propelled guns and Iskander ballistic missile launchers in action. The footage was published as Russia's mobilization of troops continued. The military commissar of Russia's Khabarovsk region was fired after half of the newly mobilized personnel they did not meet the draft criteria and had to be sent home. The governor of the Khabarovsk said that the removal of Commissar Yuri Laiko would not affect the mobilization plan set by Putin. Russia's first mobilization since World War II has led to widespread discontent among officials and citizens over the way the draft has been handled. It has also prompted thousands of fighting-age men to flee from the country. And now all the stories from across the world. Brazil's election is going into a second round in which Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva will face incumbent Jair Bolsonaro after none of the candidates could cross the 50% mark. Brazil will now hold a deciding vote in 4 weeks' time to seal the fate of the 2 candidates. Here's a report. Brazil's top 2 presidential candidates, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and incumbent Jair Bolsonaro, are now facing each other in a runoff vote. The second round became necessary after neither of the candidates got enough support for an outright victory in Sunday's election. With 99.8% of voting machines counted, left-wing challenger Lula da Silva had 48.4% votes, while far-right incumbent Bolsonaro bagged 43.3%. However, Lula fell short of the 50% mark needed to prevent a runoff. 9 other candidates were also competing, but their support pales to that for Bolsonaro and da Silva, who is commonly known as Lula. The tightness of the result came as a surprise since pre-election polls had given da Silva a commanding lead. The last Datafolha survey published on Saturday had found a 50% to 36% advantage for da Silva. Lula, who could not run in the 2018 election because he was in prison on corruption charges, the polls have spelled a remarkable comeback. Incumbent Bolsonaro and his supporters are rejoicing over the fact that he proved the pollsters wrong. Brazil will now vote on 30th October for the second round. Bureau Report, Sansad TV. Indonesia is in shock after witnessing one of the deadliest disasters at a football match on Saturday night. Tragedy struck the Kanjuruhan Stadium in Malang City, where police fired tear gas shells for crowd control as fans invaded the pitch after their team lost. Over 125 people died and hundreds injured in the disaster. Here are the details.
Indonesia is mourning the loss of lives in a stampede at a football match in Malang City in East Java province. At least 125 were crushed to death, while over 180 were injured in a stampede following crowd trouble at a football match. After the match ended in a loss for Arema, angry supporters from the losing side invaded the pitch of the Kanjuruhan Stadium. At least 5 police vehicles were also toppled and set ablaze outside the stadium. Police fired tear gas at the crowd, including towards the stands of the stadium. The police action triggered a stampede in which hundreds were trampled upon or suffocated. Some spectators also said police had started beating the fans with sticks and shields, and they fought back. The stampede was among the world's deadliest disasters ever at a sporting event. Indonesia's Soccer Association has suspended the Premier Soccer League, Liga 1, indefinitely. Indonesian president has ordered an investigation of security procedures. The president of FIFA has called the deaths a dark day for all involved in football and a tragedy beyond comprehension. There have been previous outbreaks of trouble at matches in Indonesia, with a strong rivalry between clubs, sometimes leading to violence between supporters. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
More international news now in our segment Global Wrap. The British government has made a U-turn on plans to cut income tax for high earners. UK Finance Minister Kwasi Kwarteng said on Monday that he was not proceeding with the removal of the top 45% income tax rate, adding it had become a distraction. In a Twitter message, UK Prime Minister Liz Truss said, and I quote, "We get it and we have listened." The move comes just 10 days after the plan was announced that triggered a crisis of investor confidence and jolted the markets sharply. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei responded publicly on Monday to the biggest protest in Iran in years. He accused the US and Israel of planning the protest as a plot to destabilize Iran. Speaking of the protests, he said that such actions are not normal or unnatural. Khamenei described the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini in the custody of Iran's morality police as a sad incident that left us heartbroken. His comments came as nationwide protests sparked by Amini's death entered a third week. Swedish scientist Svante Pääbo has won this year's Nobel Prize in Medicine for his discoveries on human evolution. Pääbo spearheaded development of new techniques that allowed researchers to compare the genome of modern humans and that of other hominins, the Neanderthals and Denisovan. 67-year-old Pääbo performed his prize-winning studies in Germany at the University of Munich and at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Leipzig. Pääbo is the son of Sören Bergström, who won the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 1982. The Israeli military has installed a remote-controlled weapon at a busy checkpoint in the West Bank, designed to fire non-lethal projectiles to respond to Palestinian unrest. The army said the weapon is designated to fire sponge grenades, emphasizing that the system does not include the use of live fire. Europe faces unprecedented risk to its natural gas supplies this winter, the International Energy Agency said today. The IEA said in its quarterly gas report released today, Europe could wind up competing with Asia for already scarce and expensive liquid gas after Russia cut off most pipeline shipments. The agency said that the EU countries would need to reduce use by 13% over the winter in case of a complete Russian cutoff. The EU on Friday agreed to mandate a reduction in electricity consumption by at least 5% during peak price hours. And time now for all the latest from the world of sports. Indian women beat Malaysia in the Asia Cup today. India posted a formidable 181 for 4 batting first. Malaysian women were 16 for 2 when the match had to be called off due to bad weather. India were declared winners by 30 runs using DL method. Having won the 3-match T20I series against South Africa by virtue of winning the first 2 matches in Thiruvananthapuram and Guwahati, India will go for a clean sweep against the Proteas at Indore tomorrow. David Malan, Chris Woakes star as England clinched series versus Pakistan. England thrashed Pakistan by 67 runs in Lahore to win the 7-match T20 international series by 4-3. Karim Benzema misses a penalty for Real Madrid as they finally blink in the La Liga title race. Dropped first points of the season in a 1-1 draw with Osasuna. Sergio Perez wins Singapore Grand Prix. Red Bull teammate Max Verstappen finishes 7th. Championship leader Verstappen will have to wait at least another week to retain F1 title. And that's a wrap of today's Bulletin the News. Stay tuned to Sansad TV for all the latest updates from around the world. and do share your feedback on our social media platforms. Thank you for watching. Good night. Namaskar.